Well, hello and welcome to the Tao Manifesting Tarot. This is the tarot reading for serious minded people. It is a tarot reading unlike any that you've probably ever heard before. And the reason it is because it's very focused. It is focused on your ability to manifest. That is, create pictures within your own mind. Not from a computer, not from a smartphone, not from any AI device whatsoever. That's outside of you. That's not strengthening your muscles. It's like, for example, let's say you want to lift weights. You want to build core strength. You never lift any weights. You just think about lifting weights. Now, could there be some benefit from just thinking it as opposed to actually doing it and thinking about it? Yeah, there could be some. I haven't found anyone who did that successfully. But because we're talking about manifesting, creating images in your mind that you can then set up in your life, so to speak, I suppose it's possible. But the fact of the matter is if it comes from you, not some external source, it's many, many, many times more powerful. And that idea I take extremely seriously. That's why I do a very serious podcast. We're focusing on manifesting through tarot. Which, by the way, is what tarot does. I've done tarot for over 20 years. It does not predict anything. I've never, ever seen it predict. Once in a while, I imagine, you get lucky. But I've never seen it. Oh, I mean, all the time. You look at movies, a tarot reader in a movie. Oh, man, they're right on target. Ooh, that's not real life. What tarot is designed for? After 20 years of doing this, I figured it out. Tarot is the science of potential. Your potential. That's why on your screen right now, all you see is 5 cards. 4 tarot cards, and the card in the middle, the oracle card. That's the one that kind of sets the mood for the reading. See, because I want to make absolutely positively clear what the energy is, and so I don't need a whole lot of cards. The more you have, the more confusing it is. I mean, I've seen people put out 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 tarot cards and tell you that they're doing a reading for you. They're not doing a reading for you. Well, we're just following up on this. We're following up. No, you're confusing the issue. In a situation like this, it's tarot, numerology, astrology, what your main job as a reader, in my estimation, is to give a clear, concise message. Most readers don't do that. In fact, the vast majority. In fact, I'd go 95% or more. It's all just a word salad. You can pick out anything that you want, and that's largely the reason why they do it. Well, that's not what I do. 4 cards, an oracle card, boom, that's it. That will give you the frequency. Now the question is, as we were talking about the science of potential, how does this relate to your life? Within that context, I also add something to my tarot reading, and that is numerology, astrology. I've done them for over 50 years. In that time, I have discovered that numerology and astrology are the science of cycles. But not simply the science of cycles. It's the science of cycles within cycles, within cycles, within cycles, within cycles, within cycles. You get the idea. And that's where the problem comes. Not that astrology is not valid, but I do not use it as a predictor per se. Because when you do that, well, first of all, I've found very few astrological readings that really predicted anything. They did in a general sense, and so that's how I use the astrology. I primarily take the far planets, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, sometimes Saturn, sometimes Jupiter, but certainly the farthest three, Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, as kind of a foundation. Now you get to the ascendant, you get to the moon, you get to Mercury, Venus, Mars. Those things are timers, but I don't find them very helpful. Because just this past week we crossed over into May, and if you're looking at some of the astrological and tarot readers on the internet, most of whom are fakes. Oh man, there's something coming up on the 29th or 30th of April. Oh, going into May, man, there's a big thing. Oh, and nothing happened. There are some interesting things going on behind the scenes. Canada right now looks like the whole western half of the country could become either a separate country or join the United States. That's pretty heavy duty, because if that happens, it's going to change a lot. Not just Canada, but it's going to change the world, because then people will see, to the extent that they're allowed to by their governments, because governments always love to block the internet and hide things from you so you don't know what's really going on. But let's assume somehow it leaks out. Then people around the world are going to go, holy shit, you know what? We do have control. So there's a lot riding on Alberta and the three other provinces in Canada in the West. But already we're getting reports of dirty, dirty dealings by the government. They're going to come in here and they'll do anything, absolutely anything. The guy who runs the country is very, very, very well connected with the bastards at the World Economic Forum. He is part of the deep state. He's not the final decision maker. Those people, you don't know their names. You go, Rothschilds. Well, yeah, you know the name Rothschilds. I guarantee you they may be second from the top, but they ain't the top. The people who actually pull the strings, you're never going to find their names, at least not without some serious stuff. So people are watching Western Canada right now. They're putting together a coalition, and every time you do the putting together a coalition stuff, it gets messy. And Ottawa, the capital of Canada, has dirty bastards running the government, just like they do in virtually every government around the world these days, and they will pull out the stops. They're going to do anything they can to stop this, because if it goes, Canada's gone, the world awakens to the fact that people do have the power, and the people pulling the strings on the planet, they can't let that happen. So from that standpoint, you look at the planets going. Remember, I've talked many times about the revolution, the American Revolution. 250 years ago, we had the revolution. Two planets were really kind of in unison with one another. Pluto and Uranus. Uranus is revolution. Pluto is evolution. And I said, here we are 250 years later. It takes Pluto 250 years to go all the way around the planet to get back to where it was in 1776. It's essentially there now with Uranus, and look what's happening. We also have Neptune and Saturn in the mix, and I'm not going to talk too much about it, but that really complicates things. But you see what's happening. In Canada, it's kind of the American Revolution 1776 style happening right now. And in the United States, we have kind of a civil war. You have the crazy lefties taking on the Trumps, the Trumpites, I'll call them. Now, I voted for Trump. I thought that he was the only choice, not just the best choice, he was the only choice. So far, I'm not really pleased, but it's only been a little over 100 days, so let's see what they do in the long run. I said I would give them till next summer, July 4th, 2026, because that's the official 250th anniversary of the United States of America. I want to see what they do for the middle class and the poor in America in about a year and a half. Then I'll make a final decision. But right now, I'm disappointed. But I realize we're in flux. Just like the people in Canada, they're in flux. Just like the people in Europe, Britain, France, Spain, Portugal have darkness, power outages. They're in flux. More of that flux stuff coming on. So that's why I go to the astrology. I go, okay, this is where this tarot energy is being exhibited. Now, what do you do? How do you apply it to your life? Let's find out. Let's do the oracle card. In the middle, the big one. It says, come to the edge. Come to the edge. What that says is, like in a car, kick an extra gear. If you got a 4 or 5 speed, you go down. You get that extra gear. In a automatic, you go into the high gear, you push. Or maybe you go into low gear and really dig. But you're looking for that extra gear, that extra push, that extra effort. You got to come to the edge. This is not a time for half-ass anything. Should be obvious. They're dropping poison from the skies, stuff that shows there are teeny tiny life forms, nanoforms inside of this stuff. California noticed some people that when they experienced this rain from the chemtrails, it was blue. Why? They've looked at this stuff all around across the country under microscopes, and there's little creepy crawlies. Plus, they're blocking out the sun. I mean, it should be obvious. This is not a halfway point there. And I know there are a lot of people. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. What is avoiding the situation going to help? Nothing. Nothing. They're going to take everything away from you, and you're going to let them do it, unless you kick it into high gear. You find that extra gear, high or low. Do you want to dig in, or you just want to speed up? Your choice. Your choice. That's what the tarot is all about. Potential. So it's come to the edge. The number up in the right-hand corner is a 3 and a 6. 3 means lining up your human trinity. The frequency of your mind, frequency of your body, frequency of your spirit. Line them up like a good engine. You get all the cylinders pulling together, working together in sync. Man, you got something powerful. The 6 is mini manifestation. You're starting to put stuff together. And the 3 and 6 says that's a 9. It means you're getting ready to wrap up and shift gears, literally, into something new. The question is, are you going to go in intelligently, or are you going to be pushed into it because you're too much of a coward to face what you got to deal with? People all around the world are fighting right now for their freedom and independence. You're going to join, or you're going to be a coward? Your option. Remember, science of potential. So let's go to the meme for today. How do you dismantle an empire? One rule. You dismantle the empire inside yourself. We all build up structures in our lives. We all have things that we bring with us from our childhood. We didn't find them. Our parents or friends or whatever gave them to us. We accepted them as the real deal. But now it's becoming evident that we had nothing to say about them and that they are actually weakening us. Which leads to a second meme. The secret of freedom lies in educating people. The secret of tyranny, keeping them ignorant. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. So that's what we're facing. That's why you need the extra gear. You go high or low. High for speed, go faster. Or you go into low gear and really dig in. So let's take a look at the reading. All the way to the left, we go to the Ace of Pentacles. Pentacles are our value system. Boy, definitely under attack these days. All the shit you were told was important. All that money, the bigger house, the bigger cars, the this. You're finding out what a lie it was. What about happiness? What about joy? What about peace? What about friendship? What about love? Hey, what about your health? Here's something you probably haven't thought about. What about your time? As you get older, you find that time flies. I mean, that thing is like a tornado. George Harrison of the Beatles said, at 17, when the Beatles formed, all of a sudden now I'm 57 and I wonder where the hell the 50 years or 40 years have gone. It goes like fast. Young people go, man, you're just old, you're full of shit. Yeah, well. First of all, let's see if you make it to 57. The odds are right now, according to the actuaries around the world, you're not going to, but let's assume that you do. you're going to be surprised at how much of your life just is gone. So the Ace of Pentacles said, get a real value system. That's part of going the extra mile. That's part of finding that extra gear. Make sure your value system is true and honest and helps you. The next card over is the Knight of Wands. Knights always bring gifts. Wands, positivity, excitement, joy, enthusiasm, gratitude. The Knight of Wands brings confidence, courage. You're going to need both. You're going to need both for what's ahead. This is not a time for weaklings. This is not a time for people who are cowards. Again, look what's going on in Western Canada. Look what's going on in this country with all the poisonings and all the... We literally have a civil war in the United States. The lefty weirdos, and we got the Trumpites, and they're never the twain shall meet, apparently. And then we got what's going on in Europe. Somebody's pulled the plug. They don't have lights. Pretty tough stuff. It is not a time for weak people. Signs of Potential, Tarot. And then we go to the other side of the reading and we see Chariot card twice. Two different decks, Chariot card twice. The first one is in reverse and the second one is forward because that's pretty much all we can do. So what that leads me to believe is while you are trying to figure out your value system, what's really important to you as a human being, you're working things out inside of you, which gives you the courage that the Knight of Wands gives you, the positivity, the enthusiasm. You know, maybe I could pull this thing off. If the people in Western Canada just stay together, don't disintegrate, they will have done a profound thing that will affect the entire world. Profound. People standing up for themselves. Screw the government. Screw the World Economic Forum. We will determine for ourselves. There's not a single country on the planet getting that message that isn't going to be inspired. And that's what you're going to have to follow. That's what these two Chariot cards tell me. What it's talking about is, okay, you're going to have to be guided from deep inside. You're going to need willpower. You're going to need focus. You're going to need self-control. You're going to have the capacity to trust yourself enough, which you should with the Ace of Pentacles, so that you step forward with confidence and encouragement and support that you give yourself. That's the Knight of Wands. And you lead yourself with that feeling, the freedom, the independence. But you know, with that comes responsibility. That's where people lose it. They want all the benefits, but they don't want to pay the price. So how do you dismantle an empire? You dismantle the empire inside yourself first. And then one at a time, maybe we'll straighten this thing out. That's the tarot reading for today. Back again tomorrow with another. Please like, subscribe, and share. Very, very, very important, I'm being told, because they're really playing with the algorithms. The power structure realizes they're on the verge of losing it. Seriously. People are standing up, rising up. They know that all the shit they threw at us ain't working. And so they're in a panic. So please like, subscribe, and share. I would appreciate it very much. I'll be back here tomorrow with another Manifesting Tarot. We're going to focus in. We're going to build you up. We're going to make sure that you're ready for whatever changes, whatever they may be, you're ready for them. So, between now and the next time you and I manifest tarot together, peace and blessings.